Solo Leveling is without a doubt one of the most hype anime of the generation, and continues to capture insanely large audiences, and it does this all without relying upon the used up stereotypes that dominate the anime scene, things like the rival archetype or emotional beats needed to give meaning to the action, all while being chopped up with flashbacks and attempts to humanize the villains. You know who I'm talking about.
Don't let your kids watch it!
So how does this anime manage to accomplish everything it set out to do, all while not needing to fall back on the success of the predecessors in the genre? Let's talk about it. The concept of perspective is likely the most important factor to discuss when trying to understand why this show captures the essence of cool so well. But what does that word actually mean when applying it to Solo Leveling and Sun Jin-woo? Well, when you look at effectively any scene where he is dominating every pixel with his insane power, style, and aura, there's always the groundwork done by the animators and the writers of the show to ensure that we as viewers understand what he's going up against, so that when he demolishes a threat, we can more easily come to terms with the fact that this beast or person that he defeated with relative ease wasn't just another fodder meant solely to make him look cool. This sense of respect that the writers have for each enemy that Jin-woo faces, allowing each of them a moment where their own unbridled power is enough to shake the earth, only for Jin-woo to swiftly take them out, is such an underrated aspect of storytelling, especially in an action genre. Take a look at this scene from episode 17 of the anime. Jin-woo is gliding across the battlefield and mopping up hordes of these nameless goons, a tried and tired trope in any media where the protagonist is meant to look cool by effectively fly-swatting peons. See Power Rangers for the most prominent example, or even when Naruto in Part 1 utilizes his multi-shadow clones. We understand through this engagement, taking on hordes of foes with style and finesse, that Jin-woo is supposed to look cool and effortless. But after countless anime have done this, it sort of fails to get the point across. But here's where Solo Leveling recaptures that magic. This entire episode is centered around the strike team and how many resources this guild can allocate to just one dungeon. Jin-woo is astonished himself by how many powerful hunters all gathered to complete just one dungeon, with 6 A ranks and 3 B ranks. Remember that only 0.0002% of the global population awakens to the rank of C tier. That's like 1 in every 160 million people on the planet are this powerful, and 9 of them are here. The episode plays out with Jin-woo as an onlooker to observe the team of extremely capable hunters. This is absolutely genius because we already respect and understand Jin-woo's power better than anyone else in the scene. So through his expressions of shock and respect for how formidable this group is, provides only us as the viewer with this unique perspective and how capable they are. Then the hierarchs show up, and immediately we're treated to this line from Jin-woo, where he, a confirmed S rank, has had a bad feeling since they entered the dungeon. So already through our perspective and understanding that Jin-woo is in the top 10 most powerful people in the country, as the 10th named S rank hunter, these high orcs are serious trouble because even he has had some sense of danger due to their looming presence. And immediately what follows is what made this scene so perfect and exemplifies what Solo Leveling does so well. As mentioned, this episode spent a lot of time showing us through dazzling displays of power, agility, and coordination that this strike team is not just a rowdy group of amateurs, these are professionals with training and discipline. So when they are immediately dismantled by just the first wave of high orcs, the transitive understanding is that of course these high orcs must be incredibly powerful. But what does the anime do? It uses that understanding that has been built by the entire episode, and to the greater extent the whole show, to showcase the most beautiful display of no diffing I've seen in a long time. The way Jin-woo carves through the orcs, weaving in and out of combat with such finesse and grace that no member of this, again, incredibly capable strike team even notices him, beyond the mages who could sense his mana. Our conclusion has been shattered not once, but twice in the same scene, like a beautiful game of rock, paper, scissors, where our understanding that the strike team must be powerful and capable was shattered by the hierarchs who displayed overwhelming dominance over them, only for that final conclusion to be torn apart by Jin-woo's even greater display of strength. And that cascading effect of building and destroying so often is forgotten in anime that tries to accomplish the same effect, where the protagonist is some kind of major badass. Think back to probably the best chapters in Naruto, Jiraiya vs Pain, and then immediately Pain vs Naruto. Why is this stretch of like 50 chapters more beloved than the entire 700 chapter manga? Obviously because it was animated beautifully and the emotional impact was unparalleled. It was absolutely masterful. But a theory of mine of why these two fights work so well, especially in such close proximity, is because Jiraiya vs Pain allowed us to build conclusions about Pain and how powerful he was. We got to see just fractions of his power, and it was utilized to tear down and physically destroy someone we not only emotionally cherished, but respected as one of the most formidable shinobi of his generation. Our understanding through that fight was that Pain was no joke, and his power eclipsed that of Jiraiya's. Then Pain invaded Konoha and soloed the whole damn village, demolishing more and more of the beloved cast, only for Naruto to step in and single-handedly stop the threat. This venerated Sage Mode Naruto as one of the most iconic and spoken about character points for him in any versus discussion in cross-versing and power scaling communities because of how much context we have about his power. Solo leveling accomplished what took Naruto 2 entire fights and boils it down to every episode, and takes that essence of context and perspective to apply it to our understanding, appreciation, and reverence for Jinwoo. Hey guys, Editor Riku here. If you're enjoying the video, supporting the channel would be ultra appreciated. Thank you. Perspective plays a secondary role in how the medium of anime is utilized to translate the impact and gravity that these powerhouses carry with them. Anime is a genre that wants us to appreciate the magnitude of a scene, and when well done, it outperforms every other style or form of media that attempts to convey these same feelings. And what does any of this even mean? Well, I think it comes down to a few things. The first being consequences. What are the narrative, emotional, or physical consequences of Jinwoo attaining and utilizing so much power? How is the physical world or the characters in it affected by this level of power? Because these changes offer an insight beyond what can be measured in a battle. In the case of solo leveling, of course we are treated to flashy displays of destructive might, see the Igris, Cerberus, or even Vulcan fights, but this anime accomplishes something that we don't often see in the stereotypical battle anime, where the protagonist is just a super nice guy with effectively no flaws, who only wants to save his friends. See Naruto, Demon Slayer, JJK, and a whole host of incredibly popular shows that follow this trend. We see Yuji or Tanjiro become some of the most capable people on the planet, but due to their incorruptible spirit, nothing about them changes, nor do they ever have to make a difficult decision. Everything they do is within the heroic moral compass. With Jinwoo, after receiving so much power so quickly, we see his character slowly shift from the plucky hero type with a lot of guts to an aloof, almost detached character who operates based on personal goals. We see this come full circle during the Red Dungeon arc, and more prominently in the novels themselves, where Jinwoo will take harsh action against people who have committed wrong. When Kim Chul takes action against Jinwoo, the expectation is that he would react in some non-lethal way, either knocking Kim out or just talk no jutsuing him, returning him to his senses and turning him into a friend. But the wild left turn this show takes in having Jinwoo not only permanently take Kim down, but then immediately convert him into a shadow to do his bidding is a monumental shattering of the boring, played-out trope where the hero must never sacrifice their morals despite the situation. Again, looking at the Naruto vs. Pain fight, imagine the power that finale would have had if Naruto had finally broken his character for just a split second, succumbed to his emotions, and avenged his sensei Jiraiya. We as viewers would now be left with a huge moral quandary of whether our protagonist made the right call, despite our personal belief that yes, this kill was justified, but was the cost too great? Solo leveling doesn't even spend the time explaining itself or juggling with these questions of morality, and simply acts based on the most optimal solution despite the human cost. And goddamn is that refreshing. And this is all without accounting for the novel's depiction of Jinwoo, which is much more brutal of a character. Even as early on as chapter 34, after the fight with King has concluded, and unlike the anime's conclusion where the party exits the dungeon and no survivors other than Jinwoo, Ju-hee, and Hunter Song, the novel takes a much darker turn where a prisoner that King was tasked with taking out actually survived. So naturally, Jinwoo takes him out of the dungeon to be reported to the authorities, right? Nope. He drags this man by the scruff of his neck like a dog in the rain, telling him that he could survive if he was brought to a healer immediately. But then immediately turns on a heel and throws this man deeper into the dungeon, into a chamber full of monsters, and watches him with a calm and straight demeanor as this man was torn apart. This is just one instance of manhwa Jinwoo taking matters into his own hands and dishing out the justice that we morally understand as incorrect, but is so satisfying to see happen. It's been a long time since I've watched a show that feels like it understands exactly what it's trying to do and accomplishes it with such grace and ease that it doesn't feel like some edgy new take on a pre-existing trope or narrative arc. The way solo leveling balances out the rule of cool with concepts like perspective and consequence do a lot to carve its own niche within an incredibly saturated market, one that needs a hero that operates separately from the expected value of do the right thing and save everyone, and instead simply does what he wants to do. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, leaving a like and subscribing really helps out. Peace.